What is going on, everybody? Your McLaren Speed Shop World Champion coming at you with a little bit breakdown of how to beat Purple Luffy if you're running Red Purple Law. Wanted to keep the same deck setup as the video against NL, but I do plan on changing this deck. So I'm planning on taking out Ace and putting in Rush Luffy, and I'll probably drop this Law and then just see what else is in there. I'll probably drop this Law, add another Zoro, and go from there. Just because, I mean, Ace is fine if you like playing with Ace and use Ace, but personally, just because of Rush Luffy's ability, like for the same cost of 7, he's unblockable, and you'll have 8,000. So late game, and he's only like so late game, just having a potential just free hit if you have your opponent's life down to 0 is, to me, a little bit better than Ace's ability. Ace's ability is nice because you can use it and still get out some in the same turn. So like it's a double hit there. But I just like to play a little bit more aggressive. And I think Rush Luffy, and just for the NL matchup, because if they're running the Rush NL, then if you have a Luffy out, Rush NL doesn't get their ability. And that's just what I want to do with that. But for the sake of this video and stuff, I wanted to run the same deck that I ran in the how to beat NL video and give you guys a breakdown on how to beat Purple Luffy. And so Purple Luffy with this setup is pretty tough as well, just because we need to match or outmatch the pace that Purple Luffy's going to be ramping up. And ideally against Purple Luffy, we want to just be aggressive and attack them early and often, because sort of the same game plan mindset against like NL as we have to do as Purple Luffy is not necessarily playing to like our strengths and our win conditions with Law, but by taking away their strengths and their win conditions with Purple Luffy. So Purple Luffy, let me find the man here. We'll jump into the purple. Where's he at? I'm blind. Okay, here he is. Purple Luffy's ability here is they can take the top card from their life and add it to their hand. If the amount of Dawn on their field is 0 or 3 or more, they get to add 1 more. So they're going to be trying to ramp up to get to 10 Dawn as fast as possible. And how do we take that away? By just blasting them as early as we can to take away as much life as we can so they can't utilize their ability throughout the game. Because deck knowledge on Purple Luffy is they're not going to be running any low-cost guys like we are, because there's no reason for them to. Their plan is each turn to get out guys that are higher level, 5 cost-ish or more, earlier than we can get out our 5 cost guys. So in the early turns, that then turns into our advantage, just because we don't have to worry about them being able to take out any of our low-cost guys as well. So you're kind of free depending on your like opening hand. Like you can kind of set out Gordo and stuff like that for free, like your first turn, because it's not a removal deck, so you don't have to worry about your guys getting removed unless they're just playing like an insane variation. But I wouldn't expect that from some of the top Purple Luffy builds I've seen. But yeah, so you want to attack them straight up early, like your turn 2 if you're going first. If you have a 3 cost, I'd say throw them down. If you don't have a 3 cost, literally just attack them for 8,000 with Law. Blast them for 8,000 with Law. If they counter out, then that's fine, because if they counter out of an 8,000, they're burning either 2 2,000s or multiple cards, and that's the other way we can beat them, is by making sure they just don't have the characters to play. So how we lose to Purple Luffy is like there's 2 ways of how we can lose Purple Luffy. If you're playing against a Purple Luffy that knows how to beat us, instead of them ramping up and putting out 1 guy a turn, they're going to be putting out like 2. They're going to be putting out like Magellan and like a blocker maybe if they have that, which makes it tougher for us, because again, we only can power remove like 1 person per turn. But if you're playing against someone who is just ramping up and putting out one heavy hitter each turn, then you can put them in the absolute blender. Because we have Otama, we have Gordon, got Round Table. I like to play Fire Fist and Gamma Knife because, again, I like to play very aggressive. And you can just put them in the... If you're playing against a Purple Luffy who is spending all of their Don and putting out just one character a turn, just absolutely blast them. And then we get to overwhelm them and swing multiple attacks through the early first 3 turns, which is where you have to strike. We got to get them down, like, life-wise and sort of like hand-wise, kind of as early as you can. Because once we get into the turns 4, 5, and 6, they should be at full 10 Don. If we weren't able to hit their life down, they'll be at full 10 Don. And then they can just start throwing down their like Kaidos and like whatever heavy hitters they have, which then puts us in a bind because we don't have any heavy hitters to clear those guys back if they're building on them every turn. So that's where the game plan has to change a little bit, the difference between playing NL. So NL, we want to drop our life down as soon as possible. Playing against Purple Luffy, we need to kind of keep a buffer on our life, so we can't just let free swings happen. Obviously, if you're clearing their character field, you don't have to worry about that because then they have to waste their leader attacks by getting out our characters if we're like attacking them. So that's the way to kind of to protect yourself is by being, I guess, aggressive with your characters and power removing people like key cards on theirs. But yeah, Purple Luffy, again, you just want to keep life around just because if they play Kaido's a free blast on us because Kaido's rush, and we don't have any way to block that. And obviously with Kaido's ability, it's a free KO on like all of our guys unless you're running Ace. But so be wary of like that's why we need to keep some extra life in the pocket just to survive like a Kaido hit. And because you don't want to be burnt out of life and then they throw Kaido down and they just win. So you need to keep up a little bit of a stockpile of life against the Purple Luffy. But honestly, the game plan overall is just attack them early and often. The more characters you can get out to build up, the better. Like, don't be afraid to, like, again, depending on their setup, early game, like you can potentially like power remove someone if whoever they play. Like if you get a good setup and you have a Gordon or Otama, you can start stacking characters, and that's also how we win, is by just getting out as many just hitters as we can. Because even if you're not hitting their life down to take away their ability, burning out their hand is the other way to take away their ability, because they can't use their ability. There's no point for them wrapping up if we are making them burn the characters in their hand to counter our many attacks. So that's the two-way things I'd say to pay attention to is, again, try to knock down their life when you can, because it takes away their threat, and it takes away just like a card for them to use like later on in the game. Like they won't be able to take stuff from their life as much if we knock their life down. However, if they're playing defensive and preserving their life, just look at how many cards they have in their hand, and if we have them in low cards, that puts us in a great spot too. And also, the reason I'd say play aggressive against Purple Luffy is the way their deck is built is around ramping up. So they're playing out heavy hitters every turn. They're going to have no Don left, so that means they're going to have no way to counter. They're like no counter cards in this deck that we really have to worry about, unless they're absolute like freaks playing that 0 event, which means they have to discard a card from their hand anyways, which is kind of like okay for us. But yeah, you can be pretty aggressive against Purple Luffy because they don't have any counter cards for us to really fear. And that's why I'd say don't be afraid. Again, depending on your deck build, if you have blockers, straight up don't be afraid to attack with your blockers, because like they have to get rid of our blockers regardless. And if you're using your blocker just to block and it gets KO'd, then I feel like you don't get the full utilization. Because if I use Law, attack him, he then has to, whether he has a character on the field or with his leader, he still has to attack Law on his next turn. Like either way, he has to get rid of this card just because you kind of use it as like bait. It's rested, and then if he doesn't, then we get a blocker, which then our next turn gives us the advantage of whether to attack with him again or use him as a blocker. So don't be afraid, again, early to just kind of push the pace and go for it. You just have to find like a balance though, because you also don't want to overheat early and just burn through like your entire hand. Because again, if he's able to stall us out, then if we overheat and go too aggressive and we have just nothing in our hand, then you just lose, because then we have to spend so much to build back up, and he could pick us apart with just his heavy firepower. But yeah, basic game plan against Purple Luffy is taking away how they beat us, because this is a tough matchup, because again, we get into later turns with Purple Luffy, we'll lose, because you just got to expect them to play like monster heavy hitters, and if we burn through our resources, we won't be able to take them off the field. So that's why just trying to get them down to as low as life as you can by turn 4 is great. Because if you can get them low by turn 4, then that starts putting the pressure on them and making them like double think, should they take another life or to get like the extra Don, or if they need to start playing defensive. So that's where you can kind of put pressure on your opponent and start making them think and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of my breakdown on Purple Luffy, and we'll jump into a couple games and see how it all plays out, how it all works out. Alright, here we go. Jumping into our match against Purple Luffy. Need a mulligan out of this one. This is a little bit better. But against Purple Luffy, kind of want to go first, just so we can try to push the pace here. And ideally, knock him down to as low as life as we can before he starts getting out his heavy hitters. But this is a matchup that we have to play differently, because we need to keep our life around. Because once we get, he's going to be ramping up. So right around like turn 4, if he has the cards he needs, he'll be putting out like Kaido and stuff like that. So we just have to be wary of that, because it's going to be a free hit, basically. So draw a card. We get a Gordon, which is nice, and we have a Notama. We only have 2 mid-range guys here, but which I'll probably try to get out one of them right here. So let's just attack 5-on-5 and see what he does. Okay, he takes the life, which is fine. So we'll do that and end our turn. And again, all this stuff is like still pretty situational, but we have plenty of cards to reduce his people, so we don't have to worry about anything too much right now. But we're at 3, he's at 4. Alright, hits the ramp, so he's down to 3 life already on turn 2, which is kind of like an ideal little setup on your turn 2. If you can hit them for 1, and then they have to, if they want to ramp up, they like have to. So we'll see. It's just going to be a little bit tough now, because they have all this. And the early swing, like, okay, just because we need, okay, there we go. We need like a blocker of our own. And we get a, okay, we got a Sanji. So what do we want to do here? We get rid of this dude with Gordo. At least it's 4, so we get another one of these out, which would leave us with 1. And can't really do anything else. Probably save Gordo then. We use Fire Fist, drop him down just to get the utility, get him out, and then launch 2 attacks, because we can get this guy out as well. So yeah, let's do that. So drop him down. We'll use our ability, get him out of here, bring in this Law, and like unfortunately though, we don't have any of our ramp guys to bail us out, so we got to be very careful here of all this. So we'll attack him 7-on-5. I have a Gamma. Probably grab Blocker Law here. So we'll see what they do. Alright, they throw 1 Khalifa, which is a card I'm seeing a lot more people like use, and then we'll attack him again. Okay, we'll get 1 life out of the deal, so doing okay so far. We'll see though. It's gonna be, this is where it gets tough though. He's gonna be able to put out maybe 2 pretty strong guys or 1 very strong guy, which is okay. But what I'm planning on doing is just keeping our... Okay, Paulie. This guy's annoying. Just because, yeah, KO with cost 4 or less, so he's going to take out that guy. And then if he attacks 5 on 5, or even 6 on 5, I'm okay with that, because we'll use Sanji here to... Alright, we're alright with that. And we'll use Sanji, keep our guy alive, which is nice, I think. Because we can get rid of this guy this turn. And, okay, that's pretty big. Alright, we got our boys here. So, he's at 8. I can probably just try to smoke him right now with like a 8 on 5. Or we do 9 on 5 and get him down to 1. And then that kind of cripple his stuff, because then we get rid of Paulie for the next turn. So, yeah, let's... So I can bring out these guys, get 1. And actually, wait. We don't need to... Alright, let's do Gordo. So throw Gordo down. Do this. Do that. Get him down to that. Get our 3. We're going to attack with 8. Just straight up. Here, so we can get our search. We get our search. Do I want another block? Yeah, boy. Or do we want... Beppo is... hopefully, from the comments, hopefully that's how you say it. I don't know. I'm trying to get a little bit better. Yeah, let's grab him. Just because we got 2 blockers. Alright, we get him down to 1. Huge. Huge right here. So, let's attack him again. Just 5 on 5. He's obviously blocking out of this one. Oh, he's not. Huh. Alright. Get him out of here. We'll do that. Alright, we'll see. He's got to have a ton of counter cards that he was just like... Unless he just got a bad hand and is building up for something, but... We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Again, if he... Oh, alright, he quit out of that. So, there you go. That's the ideal way to play against Purple Luffy. Obviously, they clearly didn't have their best stuff, but that's what you need to do. Again, early game is where we have to take advantage of. Like, since we can get out our guys, he's got to ramp up. So he has to ramp up the majority of his heavy hitters. Like, he's just got these guys in here. I don't know why he has Sphinx in here. I guess 4 for 6. Okay. But, yeah, so the majority of the heavy hitter cards that we have to be wary of is, like, he's going to get to Kaido and stuff this turn. But obviously, again, you got to just manage your life early. Manage your life and characters is kind of just situational. Like, whatever he does, you want to keep up. But, yeah, this was pretty much, I feel like, the perfect game of them just getting I guess, an absolute terrible hand. I don't know what they have in the stack. They have 10 cards. I don't know, like, what they had going on. But, yeah, again, you just want to swing early and often, because we have to take advantage of this ability. Is they have to take a top card from their life, and if we can knock their life down as fast as possible, then that makes them using their ability super risky and puts them in danger of losing, like losing early before they even get ramped up. Like, it wouldn't have even mattered if he put out Kaido or any of his like insane cards this turn. Like, he would have had to put out, if he wanted to keep going, he would have had to put out like 2 blockers at least. And then he still would have only been able to attack straight up, and we could have blocked out of that. And the next turn, get rid of one blocker. He can only block 1, and then we can still have a shot. We still have a couple shots on his life, you know. So that's pretty much. This is like was like the perfect game against Purple Luffy. Like, this is how you can just absolutely dumpster Purple Luffy with Law. But a lot of the other games, though, are not going to be this simple. I'll see if I can find another one. like a little bit here. If not, this will probably be the end. But yeah, that's the game plan against Purple Luffy. Is with the current deck list I'm using, Purple Luffy is the biggest threat. So I wanted to keep the same deck list for all of these like how to beat videos. But yeah, Purple Luffy, the biggest threat against my current deck setup, just because I'm not super aggro. Like if you build a super aggro law deck, you can absolutely just put Purple Luffy in the blender. Like if you load it up with those event like KO cards and stuff like that. Like in my first law video, like that deck, the one that has is just insanely like super aggro. That deck blends Purple Luffy, but that deck can't be NL, so that's like the trade-off. So, but yeah, that's what you want to do against Purple Luffy. Is you got to push the pace early and take advantage. Again, we just have to take advantage of like the inverse of their ability. They are trying to ramp up as fast as possible so they can get out heavy hitters, and then there's nothing we can ideally sort of do. Even though we do have the good counters to get rid of, like again, if you get round table or a couple gamma knives, you can take out anybody they throw down. But then it kind of turns into a battle of like attrition, which normally we can't win because we're going through cards in our hand pretty quickly with this deck. But yeah, no, just early and often push the pace against Purple Luffy. Try to get their life down as much as you possibly can, like early. Like don't be afraid to just like take some like risk if you need to. Just stack, swing on them with like 7,000-8,000, and there's only so much they can do. Because like at the very least, you can get them to burn out these cards, like their counter cards. And yeah, I'll try to find, hopefully we can find like another game against this guy though. But because yeah, I don't know what they're running in this deck. This is insane to me that they have 10 cards, and I don't know, maybe they just goofed and mismanaged it. But yeah, how to beat Purple Luffy is kind of like that. You just, again, try to manage your character area the best you can in the early game. Ideally, if they're only putting out one character a turn, you can pretty much body Purple Luffy. Like then you just have to target one guy. Like we run into problems with Purple Luffy if they change their game plan up and start putting out multiple guys a turn, like ramping up and then putting out like 2/5 costs. Then that is kind of tough because you only can get rid of one. But yeah, if you're playing against Purple Luffy, like wherever, and they're just putting out one a turn, and then you put them in the blender, and they can't do anything. So, but yeah, that's kind of the game plan there. Again, push the pace early, and try to manage your life just for the kind of turn 4, turn 5, turn 6. Because if they get out Kaido has rush, so that's a free hit. So we just need to be able to withstand a couple Kaidos. To ideally be able to get rid of Kaido though, if you have the stuff, like if you have enough removers, then you can get rid of Kaido. But if you don't, then that's why we need to manage our life against Purple Luffy if you're using a deck setup similar to mine. But yeah, let's see what else we can do here, and yeah, we'll see if we can jump into another one. All right, we're jumping into another one here against Purple Luffy. And we'll see how this game goes. We got, again, if you get the option, try to go first. Just because if you do get like a Gordon, you can also probably play Gordon right away because they don't have like, it's not a removal deck, so you don't have to worry about playing low cost guys as much, unless they got like some just real nutty cards in here. But we'll see how it goes. We have we have 2 power removals we can boost up and a blocker, so kind of a decent hand, like a decent balanced hand. Again, it'll just kind of depend on everything else we get. But unfortunately, the only thing that stinks is if we had a 3. If we had like 1/3, then it'd be good. But again, I'm gonna try to push the pace here on Luffy because we want to try to hit him down as much as we can. And yeah, there's nothing else we can do because he didn't put anyone out, so we'll hit him 8 on 5. And if he wants to count out of this, then that's fine too. Because if we get him to burn cards from his hand early, that's still okay with me. But we just have to be a little bit like cognizant more in this one to not drain our life as fast as we would do in our other matchups against the top decks. Because we need to have a decent amount of life just to hang on. And we'll take the early hit just because I want to try to get a little bit more build up here. So he plays Blocker Law. Of course he does that. Alright, he plays our card against us, and what do we lose? A Gamma and Penguin. Well, that stinks a little bit, but what are you going to do sometimes? Alright, so we can play Otama and get Law out of here. And then go into our boys. Well, we can play, yeah, we can play 2. So, yeah, we'll do that. So we'll play them, drop that down. I'll probably do... I could do it right back to him. That would be kind of funny. Why not? Why not? There we go. Get rid of two of his guys. And then 1, 2, 3. Get rid of this dude. Bring out these guys. Get 2 back. And let's attack. 5 on 5. Okay, counters out of that one. And that'll end our turn. But who do we get rid of for him? A Magellan. Nice. I'm okay with that. So we're going to be at 5 the next turn. Do we take this? You know what? Okay, we got ace. I'm using this. Okay, that stinks. All right. Okay. Gordo this man out of here and get Beppo is probably the play. But we could swing. Or, well, no, I need to get rid of him because the KO factor is too much of an issue. So, yeah, let's throw it on Gordo. Get this guy up out of here. Don't want that. Don't want to be dealing with that later. And we'll attack with these guys. 7 on 5. Okay, he takes the hit. And then we'll attack 6 on 5. Takes another hit. Nuts. 3, bottom deck him. Get our bear buddy out. What do I want to do here? I could go for it again. He's gonna be, so 6. He could potentially go up to 7. You know what? Why not? Get him to burn something at the very least. Put him in. Okay, he gets rid of Queen, which I'm kind of okay with that. See what he does. He's at 6. Does he take a life? If we can get him down to 1 on turn 4, that's kind of okay. So what does he got going on? So he's attacked 6 on our 5, which is okay. All we can ask for. Plays Queen, which is fine. Alrighty, draw a card, draw our Don. We get a Zoro, which is a huge pull. We can Fire Fist Queen out of here right away. And we can swing for a bunch of attacks right now. So, yeah. Do that. Do that. Use our ability. So, 1, 2, 3. Get rid of him. Bring Zoro out. Now I can attack with a bunch of people. So, we'll do this. 6 on 5. We get the 1 back, which is pretty nice. We'll attack with us. 5 on 5. So, that burns 1. These guys 5 on 5. Burns another. And then Zoro 5-on-5. So we get him down to last life, and that's okay. That's okay with me. So he's only on turn 5 again. So he plays this 4 less. Okay, he gets rid of our bear buddy, but he's doing that, and I will counter out of that, keep Zoro alive, and there we go. Bang bang, back to back, just bludgeonings of Purple Luffy. And again, we just pretty much our deck, like not needing to make too many wholesale changes and stuff. Overall, you just have to adjust how you play, and we just have to, again, just go off in what their winning conditions are, and we just need to do our best job to take away their winning conditions instead of playing for ours. So again, Purple Luffy's ability, this is a ramp-up deck. They're just trying to get all of their down out as fast as possible. So that's why we just have to try to blast them down. And even if they like preserve their life by burning character cards, if they have to burn character cards, then that's characters they can't put out on the field. So that's like the two-way facet of taking away their ability, is blasting down either their life, so they straight up can't ramp up, or burning out the characters that they have in their hand. Because again, the big advantage, the other knowledge that we have, Purple Luffy is going to be running like no counters. They're ramping up so they can get out like higher level cost characters faster than normal. So you don't really have to worry about that many counters unless they're just absolute freaks running the 0 cost like purple counter, which again, it costs like that takes them to burn like another card. So that's kind of the only one I feel like you'd have to, the only counter card really that they may run is that. But again, just like find another game to throw in here of what we want to do. And yeah, I'm pretty sure, I guess depending on when you see this video, I'm probably taking Ace out and putting in Rush Luffy, just because I feel like Rush Luffy provides way more of a threat against against NL, because NL, if he's running the NL card, if you have Luffy, then he doesn't get his ability. And then 2, just because against the Luffy and Sakazuki, getting out like a rush threat that also can't be hit by blockers is great, just for a potential our late game of trying to win as early as possible against some of these guys. So yeah, I'll probably, if you're seeing this, if you like Ace and you like this setup, then you can keep Ace in. Again, it's just a preference, I feel like, but I'm definitely taking Ace out and putting in Rush Luffy instead. And we're just going to go off in that for the future. But yeah, but I wanted to use the same deck that I used against NL just to show you guys how to play against Purple Luffy as well. But yeah, again, for our advantage, a lot of it is you just have to learn the decks more, and that's like what I'm struggling with overall, just because I'm still fairly new to One Piece, like the card game, so I don't have the overall like deck knowledge. But for our advantages, again, for Red Purple Law, like learning how the decks that you're going to be going up against, like learning how they play to win, then us trying to take away their winning conditions like completely, is how we can still compete and beat like these other top decks. Because again, like our biggest threat here is probably Purple Luffy, because if we didn't chip him down in life, and starting like next turn he's going to be just throwing down like monster heavy hitters, and we just straight up don't have heavy hitters to compete against that. So that's why you pretty much got to go pretty aggressive, I feel like, and just kind of overwhelm them. And then again, it's situational. You just, depending on like what you have in your hand. Like obviously, I push the pace with the blocker law, because a lot of people, I sometimes like to do that because a lot of people don't expect you to attack with a blocker. You get a blocker out and they think, oh, I'm safe for another turn. But like again, it's a risky thing. It's just personal preference. If you don't like playing aggressive, and you want to keep your blocker around, then don't attack with them. But I just like pushing the tempo a little bit, because you can catch your opponent off guard and make them then reconsider and like think, And yeah, also too situational of who you're gonna of like blocking out. I'd say if you're able to keep a character up, especially if you get their life down, try to save them. But yeah, that is beating Purple Luffy, beat him by turn 5, which is pretty sick. And we also didn't have to worry about the life situation as much as I was worried about either, which is nice. But yeah, against Purple Luffy though, unlike against Sakazuki and NL, you do need to be like pretty aware and cognizant of like your life, because if he would have got some guys out and extended this like 1 or 2 more turns and like thrown down Kaido's a free shot at us, because there's no way we can block that. And so you just need to have a couple just in case you have to face like something like that. And yeah, just manage your life depending on the in-game situations you're feeling. And don't be afraid to take risks early and often, because again, you take out their life, they can't use their ramp up ability. And then also too, if you chip it down, like you get a couple, they start at 5. If you're able to hit 2 down early, that's 3. And they definitely have to use it at least 1, so that'll put them at 2. And then pretty much once they get to 2, then you're making them like sweat, because now they're like, I need to use my ability to ramp up to keep to be able to get out my heavy hitters, because most of the cards in Purple Luffy are going to be high cost Don cards. So if we take away that ability from them, then they're not going to be able to do it, and then they're stuck playing against like our sort of in our range to still be able to power reduce and get out. But yeah, that's how you beat Purple Luffy. Again, just using the same deck that I used against NL, but I am definitely, if you see this, taking out Ace and putting in Rush Luffy, and then I'll probably play around with some numbers and stuff as well, as I'm trying to like tweak things around to get to what'll be probably just my like trying to find for my play style and my playing like preferences. There's an all-around solid deck that I can use against everybody, which I feel like I'm getting closer to, and once I do, I'll update you guys on that as well. But yeah, bodying Purple Luffy again. Just know not all games are gonna go like this though. You're not gonna beat them this quick, because depending on what they get, they can, and if they can extend it, then we're kind of in trouble. Especially like if they get multiple blockers, that's where we're kind of in trouble. If they're putting out like 2 kids or a kid and a queen, then that's a little bit tough, because that will more than likely save them just 1 extra turn, and then that 1 extra turn is kind of crucial because they'll be at max Don, and then they can throw down like a Kaido or something. So just be wary of that not all these games will go as smoothly as they did for me. It's situational, and with this deck setup, Purple Luffy is overall like a tough matchup, because if they can extend things on us, then they'll win, just because I'm down to 1 card. This dude's got 6. I have 1 left in my hand. So if they could extend it out, then I would have got absolutely just smoked, because there's no way to defend my characters, no way to defend myself. And yeah, just be wary if you do push the pace and be aggressive and take those chances, not to overheat if they have blockers out and are extending it. So you just gotta, I don't know, you just have to get the reps in, or if you're interested in this deck and like the different ways. But yeah, that's kind of the basis of beating Purple Luffy, at least. And I think hopefully that's it for, at least for me, for the game plan here. So yeah, thank you guys again tuning in. The sort of like support and stuff, it has been awesome. I super enjoy reading the comments, whether you like the playstyle I do or not. If you don't like my playstyle, it's totally fine, but I build the decks around how I like to play the game. And I like to play it aggressive. I like to play aggro. No matter like who my leader is, I'll be drawn to that play style. And that's just my personal thing and how I like to play the game, because that's the most fun for me. But if that's not the most fun for you, then don't use my deck builds. There's plenty of other awesome like content creators that are, I feel like, also way more knowledgeable than me and stuff on just the overall game. If you're like more control or defensive play style, don't be afraid to search out other people. But because overall, as long as this game is popping and grows, that's all I really care about, because this is my favorite card game I've ever played. It's so much fun, and the fact that you can play like how you want, whether you win or lose, is super sick to me. But yeah, also too, just thank you guys for just the overall support on everything. It has meant the world to me. It's so sick, and it's just made making these videos and stuff so much more fun. And yeah, I love reading comments and having conversations with you guys, and helping me out with pronunciations on characters and stuff. I think this, like, Beppo, I'm hoping is right. But I don't. So yeah, for anyone that I guess that doesn't know, I don't watch the anime really. I read the manga because I just like reading. It just helps me like unwind. Like reading before bed is so sick for me because it just gets me right in the cozy mood. And I like reading the manga because they're ahead of the anime, and I just like knowing what happens, especially in characters that I'm super drawn to and interested in the story. So yeah, apologies if. Yeah, but definitely expect me to mispronounce things depending on how they're pronounced in English and stuff too, because like I just straight up read the anime or read the manga. But yeah, thank you guys so much for everything. It's been awesome. It's been a blast. The One Piece community is the coolest. It's so much fun. And yeah, feel free to join the Discord too. We got the RP Law section is always popping. I think we normally have the most comments and stuff out of any other leader, even though the other leaders are overall probably like still the other all a bit better, but the vibes in RP Law are definitely the best out of anyone. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.